audible? Ayan, okay. So, pasensya na kayo ha. Talagang tayo ay, ang schedules natin ay hindi magkawari. But, due to personal and administrative works na din dito sa school. Pero, nonetheless, gaya nga nasabi ko since the first day, Sir Dowie compromises. Kumbaga, I know my lapses naman. Kaya, kung ano man yung magiging flow ng class natin, ay nakadepende. Yes, Luigi, bakit hindi ka nakakapasok sa MIA? Yan. Baga, anything na kailangan i-adjust pagdating sa klase, willing ako to compromise. Okay? So, sige, tapusin na natin yung lecture 1 para by next week, matapos na rin natin yung lecture 2. Maikli lang yun. Maikli lang siya na I think kaya naman siya on Wednesday. By the way, alam niyo na schedule ng first exam niyo. Hindi ko nga pala, iba-iba nga pala kayo ng schedules. Pero, meron na akong nagawang schedule. O, di ba pati yun sa akin pinagagawa. Pero it's part of my job. Yan. Check natin para informed kayo. Tsaka kung kailan din yung possible quiz natin for Spectrum. Someone wants to join. Sino ito? Bakit kayo ay need pa ng admitting Bakit check ako ng inyong browsers kung GSUK ba yung naka-open? Kasi next time din ako mag-admit ng Check natin yung schedules niya. Okay, hanapin natin. So, yun muna i-present ko. Nasaan ba yun? Present something else. Yan. Though ito hindi pa final, pero para lang magkaroon kayo ng idea, pinapacheck ko pa rin sa kanila. Ever. So, hanapin natin ang Sir E31. Ayan. So, first exam ninyo would be, on Friday, October 11. Hindi ko lang alam kung meron nga, kung sasabay ba, pero yun yung schedule na nilagay natin. Tapos, most of your exams would be on Saturdays and Sunday kay Ma'am Ange. Tama ba ako? Kung nakikita nyo. Tapos, for Spectro, eto. That would be October 16, Wednesday. Quiz lang naman ito. Gaya ng sabi ko, hindi ako sasabay sa midterm exam. So, sir, ano pong coverage ng quiz natin? Lecture 1 at saka lecture 2. Then, after your midterm exams, meron pa tayong isang lecture na isasama for your actual midterm. So, kailan po yung midterm namin? So, most likely baka after November na. Or I mean, after nung November break ng UNDAS, yun na yung magiging midterm exam natin. Pero i-check pa rin natin ha. Since ang examination week ay hanggang October 17, so possible kasi na may pasok pa tayo 2 weeks after that. So kung sakali na may pasok pa tayo 2 weeks after that, makakapag-discuss pa tayo ng isang lecture. Tapos yung a week after, bago mag-November 1, pwede tayo ay mag-exam na. Okay? Clear tayo doon? Okay. Para pagbalik natin ng after UNDAS, diretso na agad tayo sa discussion for your finals naman. Tapusin na natin na maaga para less na rin yung burden sa inyo. Less na yung mga gawain, kumbaga. Okay? So, sige, tapusin na natin itong lecture 1. Wait lang. Okay. By the way, na-reproduce ko na yung Module, itong PowerPoint. So, kuhanin nyo na lang sa akin siguro by, kailan ba? Wala ako Saturday. Tomorrow kasi ay para Teacher's Day celebration. So, if you have the time, punta kayo sa FDC. Lalaban daw ako. Kung ano man lalabanan, ay di go. Wala na naman tayong magagawa. Wala naman tayong choice. Okay? Ayan. Sige. So, konti na lang to. I think, tapos na natin yung ano, di ba? Orbitals. So, we will start with electron spinning na hanggang, konti na lang to. Konting slides na lang to. So, I guess I wouldn't take too much of your time for today. Then, by next week, yung last lecture na natin. Konti lang din yun. Kaya natin tapusin yun by 2 hours. Okay. Nasaan yung slide na yun? Yan. Electron spinning. Okay. So, from a quantum mechanical treatment, yung magnitude daw ng angular momentum natin, let us say siya po ay si P sub S. P sub S dahil momentum due to the spin or yung movement, rotation ng actual electron natin within its orbit. So, whether it is in the hydrogen atom or any other atom, pwede natin siya makompute by using this equation kung saan yung electron spin quantum number natin or your S can take the value 1/2 only. Sir, bakit po 1/2 lang? Kasi kung magkakaroon tayo ng organic chemistry talaga na discussion, yung mga 1s, 2p, mga ganyan natin, it identifies or denotes yung specific number of boxes. Ano yung boxes? Kunyari, 1s. Sa S kasi natin meron tayong isang box. Sa P, if not mistaken, ay 3. 1, 3, tapos 5, SPDF yan eh. Your D has 5 na boxes, then yung F natin is 7. Then, it would denote sa atin kung gaano kadaming spins. Normally, lahat ay pataas sa loob ng box. Then, para malaman natin na stable yung molecule or yung atom, kailangan lahat ng boxes ay ma-fill in natin ng up and down arrows that signifies yung particular movement, positive ba or negative ang movement ng ating molecule. So in fact, the result cannot be derived from the Schrödinger equation but only from Dirac's relativistic quantum mechanics, or nagkaroon tayo ng specific equation or formula aside from the Schrödinger para ma-identify natin ito in consideration with the electron spin mismo or the actual movement of our atoms or molecules. So space quantization of this angular momentum would result to this specific equation. Okay? That your electron spin or angular momentum spin with respect to all possible directions, which is your Z, is equivalent to a value of 1/2 times your reduced Planck's number. Okay? Ito pong H natin na may kuwet ay reduced Planck's number. Okay. I'll be giving you also a link ng short discussion siya ng buong lecture 1. Pwede na siyang maging review material bukod dito. So if may mga concepts here sa PowerPoint na hindi masyadong naintindihan, baka mas may explain nung link na yon. Simplified siya na discussion. Okay. Meron naman. Ito pa-check na lang din kasi sabi nila wala daw. Pero ang alam ko meron yan dahil nirefillan ko yan. Meron? Meron yan. Nirefillan ko lahat yan. Okay, so here is an example of the illustration ng space quantization of electron spin angular momentum. So kung mapapansin nyo, doon sa direction natin na Z, so this can be X, Y, or your Z-axis. Pero normally, it denotes a specific direction kung saan umiikot or nag-spin ang ating atom or molecule. So kung mapapansin, if the electron spin is +1, papunta dito ang rotation natin. While kung negative 1 naman, pababa naman yung ikot niya. Ganun siya. Okay? So kung ito ay aking ila-landscape, it's either ang ikot niya ay right or tama ba? Oo, counterclockwise or left na clockwise naman. Okay. So similarly, yung magnitude ng angular momentum naman natin, which is denoted by your P sub I due to the nuclear spin, is given by this equation. Okay, so again, this equation is due to the nuclear spin, while the other one naman is due to your electron spin. So ito ay pag-ikot na ng mismong atom or the nucleus itself. So the nuclear spin quantum number I may be normally equivalent to 0 or half integer or yung mga 1/2 or a whole number itself depending on the nucleus concerned. So kung mapapansin niyo with the given table, if we have hydrogen here that has a nucleus equivalent to 1, okay, or yung normal hydrogen natin, it only has a nuclear spin quantum number equivalent to 1. 1/2, sorry, 1/2. Then the rest, ganun din ang mapapansin natin. Like you have here your boron, which has 3, while kapag ginamit natin yung kanyang isotope, nakakaroon naman ng 3 halves. Same with carbon, nitrogen, oxygen has 0 kasi ang oxygen po ay stable atom siya. And then you have your fluorine, your silicon, Si. So nagiging stable din ang ating silicon at 30. And phosphorus and fluorine. So the way in which yung spin, the angular momentum natin of this particles put together would somehow determine yung value ng I natin. Okay? So if you being given in the table already, it is essential for us to know yung nuclear magnetic resonance spectropy na hindi siya equivalent to 0. Okay, so bakit hindi siya mag-equal sa 0? It's mainly because hindi stable or it has this tendency to react or kumapit sa ibang atoms or molecules. Gaya na lang ng carbon 12 natin, your carbon 12 is equivalent to 0, meaning it has no use in respect, but it's increasingly impulsed for example, Fourier transform natin or sa FTIR. So nakikita yung kanyang resonance and at the same time na-identify ang kanyang presence. So just as for an atom, yung Hamiltonian natin for a diatomic or polyatomic molecule will be equivalent to the sum of the kinetic energies or its quantum mechanical and the potential energy, leaving us an equation resulting to this. Okay, so paano nag-arrive dyan or nag-arise equation na yan? In a molecule, the kinetic energy T consists of contributions ng kinetic energy ng inyong electron at ng inyong neutron. So because of that, nagkakaroon ngayon ng parang repulsion, okay, or parang compression at saka expansion ng ating mga atoms, leaving us a specific movement or resonance kung tawagin. So from the motions of the electrons and nuclei, respectively, the potential energy comprises two terms, which is your V sub EE and V sub NN, due to Coulombic repulsions between the electrons and between the nuclei. So respectively, in a third term, you have your V sub En, and this is mainly because of the attractive forces between your electrons and your nuclei. Kumbaga, ito po ay kinetic energy ng electron at ng nucleus natin alone. This is the energy exhibited by two electrons and two nuclei, if ever. Then ito naman po ay energy that exists between your electron and your nuclei. And that comprises the whole value of your Hamiltonian diatomic or polyatomic molecule. Sir, bakit ganon? Kasi your diatomic, for example, you have your H2. Eh, di ba yung H natin na lang, meron na siyang sariling at meron na rin siyang sariling electron niya. What more kung meron siyang dalawa? So this has an interaction, meron din to, meron din to, meron din to, ito, tsaka ito. Yeah. And that comprises your whole Hamiltonian value. So for a fixed nuclei with T sub n, normally it is equivalent to 0. And yung ating V and N, or the interaction between your nuclei, is always constant. And there is a set of electronic wave functions known as your phi sub E, which satisfies the Schrodinger equation. So therefore, yung Hamiltonian natin times your wave function with respect to your electron is now equivalent to your energy times your wave function with respect again to your electron as well. So therefore, your Hamiltonian equation may be derived as this one. Okay. So since yung Hamiltonian natin with respect to your electron depends on the nuclear coordinates, okay, or yung interactions ng ating nucleus, ng electron, ng protons, or the whole atom itself, because of the VEN term or the interaction between two charges, so does your wave function and your energy with respect to E in the Born-Oppenheimer approximation proposed noong 1927, pwede nating i-assume na yung vibrating nuclei natin will now be moving slowly compared doon sa electrons with respect, okay, to their equivalent values. So this already involves nuclear coordinates as their parameters. So ibig sabihin, your Born-Oppenheimer approximation gives another discovery or definition dun sa kung paano gumagalaw ang ating molecules or atoms within a reaction or as itself, okay, or by its nature na. And that is given by, or that is related with its electron spin. So the actual movement, okay, due to the spinning ng ating molecules, ng ating atoms, will now be approximately be identified using your Born-Oppenheimer approximation. So the Born-Oppenheimer approximation will now be valid dahil yung electrons natin adjust instantaneously to any nuclear motion. Nagbabago agad or nag-a-adapt agad yung movement based from the energies being absorbed or being released in a nuclear reaction, for example. So they are said to follow the nuclei. So for this reason, yung energy natin with respect to your electron can be treated as part of the potential field in which the nuclei would move. So therefore, instead of using your electron as your, with respect to your Hamiltonian value, we will now be considering the Hamiltonian value with respect to your nuclei. Kasi sabi, sumusunod ang electron ko sa movement ng aking nucleus or ng aking nuclei. So therefore, the value of your electron will be derived from the value of your nuclei itself. So therefore, lahat ng values na ito or variables na ito will be calculated with respect to your nuclei. So therefore, yung Schrodinger equation natin will now be equivalent to this one. Okay? Nasusundan ba? Okay, so we're trying to derive lang kung saan ang gagaling yung mga equations natin. Okay. So, this equation now follows your Born-Oppenheimer approximation that yung total wave function natin, denoted by your phi, can now be categorized or factorized in this manner. Where Q ay yung electron coordinates natin and your wave function with respect to your electron is a function of nuclear coordinates ng Q as well as your small q. And it follows the equation that your energy, total energy, is equivalent to the energy of your electron plus the energy of your neutron. So kung kukuhanin naman natin ang equivalent value ng ating wave function with respect to your neutron, In terms of Q, ito naman po yung ating gagamitin. So we will be getting or we will try to know the value of your vibrational wave function and your rotational wave function. Ibig sabihin, sir, ito po ay linear. Yes po, kasi kino-consider natin dito na wave, kumbaga if we have a straight line, ay yung vibration or movement lang ng particular atom mo with respect to that line. Okay? So parang planar siya or linear waves yung kino-consider natin. Okay. And for the same reasons, perhaps, unexpectedly, that the hydrogen atom wave function with respect to these terms can be factorized into RNL and your YLML. Or ito ay with respect to your electron spin. Tama ba? Oo, radial. Ito radial. Momentum. Tapos ito ay electron spin. As in the Hamiltonian equation presented sa atin sa previous discussions natin. So from the equation previously, it follows that your energy ng neutron or the linear movement ay equivalent doon sa ating vibrational and rotational parts or energy emitted due to vibration and rotation ng ating particular particle. So that yung ating wave function na will be derived from all possible movements, ng wave natin. And therefore, the total energy exhibited in all directions will now be equivalent to all energies or the sum of all energies in different movements. So if any atoms have nuclear spin, this part of the total wave function can be factorized and the energy treated additively. It is for these reasons that we can treat electronic, vibrational, rotational, and NMR spectroscopy separately. Kaya, ang spectroscopy actually ay napakalaking gamit pagdating sa pag-identify ng mga compounds ng atoms, presence ng ating molecules for a certain for a certain material. Nalalaman natin if contaminated ba siya or hindi just because of vibration. Kasi bawat particle, bawat compound, it exhibits a particular movement. Magkakaiba sila. Kunwari si Jana, iba yung kilos ni Jana sa kilos ni Algen. So it would be easier for us to identify based from how they move. Sir, is there any possibility po na parang nagkakatulad ang movement ng bawat isang molecule? It is possible, however, meron ng certain attraction or certain additive sa molecule na yon. Kumbaga, impersonation ang nangyayari. Okay, sino nanonood ng Drag Race? Wala. Yan. So makikita natin sa Drag Race na parang it's a different person. However, yung movement or kilos nung ginagaya nila ay kuhang-kuha. But there are cases na hindi masyadong familiar or hindi masyadong nakukuha yung movement. So therefore, nagkakaroon ng konting confusion. Ano nga ba ang kanyang particular distinction? Ano ang specificity or pagkakakilanlan sa molecule na yon? Same with Drag Race. Kumbaga kung ihahalin tulad ko siya. So with spectroscopy, there are also cases na nalilito yung analysis natin. We can compare it to different materials, however, it may exhibit a different compound. Okay? And that is mainly because of energies, because of spins, because of how they move. Yan. So a useful approximate model, aside from your Born-Oppenheimer, for the end-over-end rotation, or yung total 360 movement ng ating molecules and atoms for a diatomic molecule is yung rotor natin, in which the bond joining the nuclei is regarded as a rigid or weightless rod. So kung mapapansin mo dito, yung bond na tinutukoy natin ay ito. So yung bond between, ito sabihin natin, ito yung ating nuclei, ito yung electron, may attractive forces yan. And yung attractive forces na yun forms a certain distance sa inyong electron at sa inyong nuclei. Wherein, doon nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na center of gravity at doon sa center of gravity na yon, doon nagmumula yung certain movement. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kung ito ay, let us say, ito ay Y, ito ay Z axis. Kung Y axis ang titignan natin, ganito yung rotation niya. Same with kung yan ay tatagilid, i-rotate natin ng 45 degrees. Therefore, this is your Z axis already. Ganun pa rin yung spin niya. Okay? Nag-iba lang ito. Ito possible na nandito na. Ito, tapos ito dito. Okay naman, ito yung nuclei. Ito siya. Pero the center of the spinning mismo is still here. So it means to say it rotates here while it revolves around this point while it rotates at a certain axis. Okay? So yung angular momentum natin will now be given by this equation. Where your J here, okay, mga J variables natin stands for your rotational quantum number. Ano yun? Ano? Okay na? Okay sa kanila? Okay. Tatapusin ko lang to. Ayusin natin. Sige. So your J is now associated with total angular momentum excluding nuclear spin or yung mga rotational, orbital, or electron spin natin. Again, it is your total angular momentum that excludes kung anong klase ng ikot ba or movement ang ginagawa ng molecules natin. But when there is no orbital or electron spin angular momentum, it will refer only to a certain rotation. May ikot lang siya. Okay? Pagka sinabi nating angular momentum, merong consideration sa center of gravity, ano yung specific axis na iniikutan niya, how does it rotates, okay? Ano yung movement in total. While if it only spins, it refers to rotation. Kumbaga, ang bola, pinaikot ko, that's just a rotation. Pero kung ang bola ay pinaikot ko at the certain degree, direction with ganitong klase ng energy, that's your angular momentum already. So just as with other angular momenta, there is space quantization of rotational angular momentum so that your component Z or any component is given by this expression, where your M sub J may be equivalent to J or J minus 1 or just a negative J, depende sa value natin dito. Okay? Times your reduced Planck's constant. Therefore, in the absence of an electric or magnetic field, masasabi natin na yung rotational energy would be equivalent to 2J plus 1. So any value given sa problem ng J, let us say 1, that would be equivalent to 3 plus 1, 4. 4 times your reduced Planck's constant. So the solution of the Schrödinger equation for a rigid rotor will show us the rotational energy ER, and it may be quantized with values or it may be expressed as this term. Okay? Where the moment of inertia I, ito po, ay equivalent sa mu r squared, in which yung r natin is the internuclear distance and your mu ay equal po sa sinatawag na parang average ng masses ng electrons natin. But for this case, it is your nuclei masses. Okay? Kasi ang nagbibigay ng specific spin or direction ay kung gaan or kung ano yung movement na nuclei natin kanina, di ba? Hindi yung electron. Kumbaga yung electron ay nakadepende sa kung ano yung energy, ano yung movement na binibigay ng nuclei natin. So the set of rotational energies varies as well from 0 to 8, increasing siya. Though some references, meron ako nakita na greater than 8 pa. But most of the values naman ay from 0 to 8 lang. So this figure shows how your rotational energy levels given by the equation diverge with increasing J. So with increasing value of J, okay, most likely increasing din yung energy natin ng rotation. Kumbaga sa pagbilis ng ikot, pagtaas ng energy na naiibigay ng particular what they call this, electron or molecule. Okay. So for us to understand or somehow know ano ba yung uses ng mga equations na yan, sir, let us try to solve a simple problem. Ayan. Okay, wait lang. Sige, bibigyan ko kayo ng 10 minutes. Try nyo muna. Kayo muna yung mag-solve. Okay. Nasagutan nyo? Hindi. Nakahanap ba ng natatanging formula? Hindi nasagutan. Okay, ang gagamitin natin na formula ay ER, ito, is equivalent to H squared over 8 pi squared I, hindi ko sa ulo eh. Ngayon lang ako J, parang multiplied by J plus 1. Hindi ko masyado sa ulo yung mga formula nyo sa zero eh. Yan yung gagamitin natin. Okay? Tapos given na rin naman halos sa atin yung mga values. So, anong kailangan natin munang makuha? Kailangan nating makuha yung value ng I. Kasi walang given value ng I. Ang meron dyan ay J. And we all know, sabi sa atin kanina, I is equivalent to mu R squared. Okay? So, kailangan natin makuha mo yung value ni mu. And sabi natin kanina, ang mu natin ay reduced. Diba? Ito yung m sub 1, m sub 2, all over m sub 1 plus m sub 2. Okay. Ano kukuhanin natin? You have your carbon at saka yung oxygen. So, mag-whole number na lang tayo. Okay? Ang gamitin na lang natin is 12 at saka 16. So, therefore, your mu is equivalent to 12 times 16. 12 plus 16. Equivalent to saan? Ito grams per mole, ha? Anong sagot dito? Pa-decimal kasi sa akin. May message ba kayo? Bubukas lang ko lang kalugyo. Bali ay 12 times 16 divided by 28. 6.8572 grams per mole. Pero ang kailangan kasi natin dito ay kilograms. And how will we do that? Gagamitin natin ang inyong, anong number to? Avogadro's number. So, we will be dividing this. Kasi ang Avogadro's number kasi natin ay, pwede na rin naman, kilogram. Okay. Kung iki-kilogram natin to, we have 6.8572 times 10. Is to negative 3 kilogram per mole. Okay. Tapos, kunin natin kilogram lang. We'll be dividing this by Avogadro's number. 6.0221. Okay. Times 10 raised to 23. Ito ay per mole. So, cancel to. Kilograms yung kailangan natin. Reduced mass. Okay? Your mu is your reduced mass. Kaya kinuha lang natin is your kilograms. So, di-divide natin to. Ay, wala akong ano. Wait, kunin ko lang yung isa kong calculator. Wala nga pala itong exponent. So, 6.8572 times 10 raised to negative 3 divided by 6.0221 times 10 raised to 23. So, we have 1.1387 times 10 raised to negative 26 kilograms. Okay. Okay, so nakuha na natin yung ating mu or yung ating reduced mass. So makakakuha na tayo ng I natin. And ang radius na binigay sa atin ay ano? Sabi dyan, use a bond length of 1.1283 angstrom at 0.11283 nanometers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 1.1283 or equivalent pala, sorry, equivalent to 0.11283 nanometers. So yun yung gagamitin natin na length. Pero ang kailangan kasi natin na unit here is kilogram kilogram per meter squared. Ay, sorry, mali. Hindi siya kilogram per meter squared. Kilogram meter lang pala. Kilogram meter lang. Para matanggal natin. So, ang ating magiging I ngayon ay equivalent sa mu. It's 1.1387 times 10 raised to negative 26 times ito. That's times 10 raised to negative 9, di ba? Tama ba ako? Or sige, 1.1283 times 10 raised to negative 10. Kasi ito yung raised to negative 9 eh. Eh dahil itong ginamit ng 1 point times 10 raised to negative 10. Ang units nito ay kilogram meter squared kasi ito yung square pa natin. So I now is equivalent to what? Times 1.1283 times 10 raised to negative 10. Tapos square natin siya. Square. So this is 1.4496 times 10 raised to negative 46 kilograms meter square. Okay? Ano pang kailangan natin? Kailangan natin yung h squared. May binigay bang h squared? Wala. Ay, sorry. Ito ay yung ating Planck's. Planck's constant natin to. Then, meron na tayong I. Tapos may pi. So, I guess makukuha na natin yung equivalent niya. So, I think pwede na natin itong i-ano. Ipa-screenshot ako. Buburahin ko kasi wala na tayo space. Okay. Done screenshot na ba? Comment SSD. Okay. Ayan. So, kunin na natin yung h squared natin. Your h squared over 8 pi I. So your h squared, again, this is your Planck's constant. So you have 6.6261 times 10 raised to negative 34. Pa-double check ako ng mga pinagsusulat ko ha. Squared. So ito ay naka-joule. Joule second to. So means to say joule squared second squared ang unit nito. All over 8 pi times yung kanina natin na-compute na I. That's 1.4496 times 10 raised to negative 46. And this is at kilogram meter squared. Okay. So, equivalent value ngayon ng term na ito is what? 6.626 times 61 times 10 raised to negative 34. Tama. Well, that's why she is my mom. Okay, apaw. 1.4496 times 10 is to negative 46. Kaya nga. Yan. So, ay, bakit di ang sagot ko? Ay, squared. Sorry. Pi squared. Tama. Sabi ko sa inyo, correct nyo ko eh. Squared. Ayun. 836 na lang kasi 99 yun nandito. 8360 times 10 raised to negative 23. Joule squared, second squared per kilogram meter squared. Okay? So, nakuha na natin. Now, we can do yung actual equation natin. Okay, which is ER or yung rotational energy natin equivalent to this term h squared over 8 pi squared I times j plus 1. Okay? So, at any value, j equivalent daw sa 0, 1, and 2. 0, j1, j2. Ano po ang ER natin? Oh, sige, compute.
Ikaw pala nanay ko ang manunood ng...
Bakit?
Parang ang daddy.
Hindi nag-play ay very plastic.
True.
Ako nag-play, hindi ko naman piniplay. Ako may hinanap lamang. Ako nag-play, pagkatapos ko pinamalo.
Nakaka-attach mo pala yung mga ganyan pelikula.
Oo nga.
Paki-comment na lang ako sa comment section. YouTube yan. Kung anong sagot. Ano pong sagot? Uy, sa substitute lang ha. may ER na tayo may ano natin nakuha. Sino palang bias nyo sa Drag Race? Ako ay, fan na Maxi Anderson. Fan din ako ni Maxi, pero parang mas gusto ko manalo si Angel o kaya si Kiana. List ko si Tita Baby. Doon magaling si Tita Baby. Pero pag 0, syempre 0 ang ating magiging value. That's correct. Pag 1, we have bakit yan nasagot mo dyan? Parang napasobra naman ata. Hindi yan. Dinivide mo na yung energy levels. Dinivide mo na yung energy levels. Na-advance ka naman masyado. Ang sagot lang ay yung hanggang 7 point. Yan. 7.67. Yan lang. Okay. But we can convert those values sa energy, sa wave number. Gagamitin lang natin yung Planck relation. Yan yung sagot ni Jana. Nasobrahan ka naman sa gre-review. Okay. As simple as that. Kasi 'di ba meron tayong value ng H, then yung C. Yan. So, naintindihan po. Nagets naman kung ano yung pinagagawa natin. Okay. Sige. Good to know. Mga ganyan lang simple yung ano. Pero you will be answering, siguro nakita na ni Jana yung reference ko. Yun. You will be answering the exercises after. Again, ang aking quiz, ang aking exams, ay magre-revolve lang din dito. Kasi syempre, ako inaaral ko din. So, sasagutan ko din siya. Pag nasagutan ko, most likely, ibibigay ko siya as an problem-solving part sa quiz at saka sa, sa midterm or sa finals. Pag hindi nasagutan ni sir, ay hindi natin ibibigay. Charot. Hahanap ako ng problem na masasagutan ko. So, kung nasagutan nyo to, di swerte, makakasagot sa exam. Okay po? Parang nalinaw ko din naman yun noong previous meetings natin, diba? So, malalaman ko kung nagre-review ba talaga or nagsusearch lang. Okay? Sige. Tapusin na natin ito. Last, we have your harmonic oscillator. Ayan. So, the figure here illustrates sa atin yung ball and spring model which is adequate for an approximate treatment ng vibration of a diatomic molecule. So, for small displacements, the stretching and compression of the bond represented by the string obeys yung tinatawag natin na Hooke's law. And your Hooke's law is equivalent to this equation. Or yung restoring force or para maibalik yung spring sa kanyang original form is given by this equation. Where yung V natin is the potential energy being varied, okay? Depende sa stretch na ibinibigay, okay? Multiplied by your X all over your dx, where your K here is your proportionality constant relative force being exerted dun sa spring and the magnitude of which reflects the strength of the bond. And your X is equal to your R minus R sub E or the actual displacement from equilibrium na nananahimik siya dito. For example, hinatak-hatak mo, karoon ngayon ng disorder dun sa spring natin. And that is equivalent to that displacement. Okay. And integration of that equation may lead to us to this one. Okay, so para siyang kinetic energy 1/2 mv squared, diba? However, we are particular with the spring or with the waves produced ng spring natin. So in the figure, your V sub R represents your V sub X dito sa ating equation. and it is plotted against your R value, which is this one and this one, and illustrates the parabolic relationship. So kung i-stretch ko, for example, papunta dito, most likely ang waves na napoproduce ko ay itong mga to. Yan, yun yung distortion, kumbaga, naman niya. Na kapag binanat ko pa siya ng binanat, most likely magiging straight line na lang siya. Okay. So the quantum mechanical Hamiltonian for a one-dimensional harmonic oscillator will be given to us by this equation, okay, where still, this is your reduced Planck's value. Ito yung ating reduced mass, pero ng nuclei na lang, or ng nuclei natin. So the Schrödinger equation will now become or be modified as this one, wherein your Schrödinger equation can equivalently show yung relationship ng energy natin rotationally as this one. Okay? Kanina dun sa problem, you can actually get Schrödinger equation as E equivalent to HCV. Ngayon, modify siya because of the stretching na nangyayari dun sa ating, what they call this, spring. Where yung V natin here is known to be the classical vibration frequency given by this equation. So, relate lang yung equations. Okay? And as expected, the frequency increases with K, and ibig sabihin, yung stiffness ng bond natin ay tumataas and decreases with your reduced mass. More commonly, though we use a vibration wave number na nagawa na natin sa previous meeting natin, we can actually include that. Okay, kasi we find relationships ng vibration wave number natin with the given values kanina ng V at C. So we can use that in terms of your vibration, vibrational movement o yung energy natin caused by vibration as this one. So yung vibrational quantum number natin or your W here, itong ating W natin, may take values from 0 to 1. At kapag ang value ng V natin is equivalent to 0, it has an energy level most likely equivalent to 0 as well. Okay, so this is the minimum energy the molecule even at the absolute zero of the temperature and is a consequence of the uncertainty principle. Meaning, each point of intersection kasi na meron tayo for any energy level with a curve that corresponds dun sa classical turning point ng vibration natin where yung velocity ng ating nuclei ay equivalent sa zero, all energy is in the form of potential energy lang. So walang movement na nangyayari. So this is in contrast to the midpoint of each energy level where it gives us a significant value of energy known as kinetic energy. So the wave functions resulting from solution of the equation will now be equivalent to this one. So kung mapapansin nyo, same naman yung itsura na mo-modify lang, nababago lang yung ating term. Okay, yung mga variables included. So your HV of Y here is equivalent to your Hermite polynomials. And Y may be expressed as this term. So, kukomputin muna yan, then tsaka siya sinasubstitute dito as a value. Okay, so here are some of the important features of your harmonic oscillators. So, yan naman ay equivalent values lang that is actually represented already by this table from the value of your Hermite polynomials for V for V equivalent to 0 to 5. Yan. So kung mapapansin, if 0 ang V ko, 1 po ang equivalent value ng Hermite polynomial. Kung 1 siya, 2y siya. Kung 5, ito yung gagamitin natin. Isa-substitute natin siya here. Siyang gagamitin natin dito, raised to negative y squared over 2. Okay. So that ends lecture 1. Okay? Wait lang, magsa-charge ako, mamamatay laptop. So, meron bang additional knowledge na natanggap? Ayan, wala nag-react. Walang additional knowledge. Walang nag-react. Okay. Ayan, but medyo mahirap siyang intindihin kasi syempre we cannot see waves, diba? But upon reading, you will understand it somehow. Kung merong hindi clear, try to search some of the terminologies kasi minsan masyado lang technical yung nagagamit na terms. But if you will be searching on it, may layman's term na pwede natin i-associate. Ayan. If hindi pa rin talaga maintindihan, reach me out. I'll try to explain it to you the best as I can. Okay po? So, sino pala dito yung mga naka-attend ng sa MTCC? So, that's basically the yung lecture 1 na yan yung basic principle na sinusunod. Okay, noong FTIR, nung ano nga ito? NIR doon sa main campus, yung sa ARC naman. Same lang din yan. Okay? HPLC almost same. Vibrations, concentrations, yan yung sinusunod na principle. Okay? So, may questions po ba? Okay? So, if walang questions, I'll be trying to give you your problem set to be submitted after midterms pa naman. Kasi I want you guys to have it or take it as a review din. Okay, ganun ako magpa-problem set. Hindi ako nagpapasubmit before or hindi na ako nagpapasubmit ng during exams kasi parang yung iba ay binabasta na lang din, hindi rin naman naintindihan na. So after na lang, after midterms, so I assume na naaral siya. Okay, kumbaga kahit hindi siya ganun gets na gets, at least inaral siya. Alam kong inaral. Nag-effort, kumbaga. Okay? So if wala ng questions, thank you so much for your time today. Let us try to meet next week 16, and if kakayanin or if we will be allowed still to meet at Thursday, ganitong oras ulit or earlier, 8 to 10. Wala namang conflict yung 8 to 10. If walang conflict, thumbs up. Medyo nalilito kasi ako doon sa heart. Okay. O siya, sige. Again, your modules are yung printed na PPT. Gaya na sabi ko last time, ay okay na. Kuhanin niyo na lang siguro by kailan kayo nasa school? Kailan kayo nasa school? Tomorrow ba nandito kayo?
Dapat, hindi na. Kasi
wala kayo tomorrow. Saturday. Saturday. O sige, sa Saturday nyo na lang po. Yung kung merong nandito by tomorrow, pwedeng kuhanin.